The next reader is Joe Christman.
Yay!
Yeah. She sent a bio, and I was like, all right, because it talks about Woodstock, and that works. So. Evidently, she was born on the stage in Woodstock, right?
Something like that.
Close.
That's close enough.
All right. Jill Christman was. Let me start again. You have a really tongue twistery name, especially beer. Jill Christman was born on the dog breath heat of a Miami summer, exactly 1 month after Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, and right about the time Janis Joplin was belting out "Piece of My Heart" on the rain-soaked stage in Woodstock. On that day, August 16th, '69, while she was being born by Mother deep in sleep, her father took her big brother to the Miami Serpentarium. Snakes. Place. They went to the Roadhouse. And Patrick Swayze. Why is that coming up on the screen? Her father took her big brother to the place with the snakes to witness Cookie the giant crocodile snapping up live chickens for her lunch. This was no sit-down fare, Jill's father told her later, by way of explaining his absence at her birth. Imagine such a flurry, such a pandemonium of flying white feathers, bright gnashing teeth, and red chicken blood. That Cookie, who was once the longest crocodile in captivity, would bite off 5 feet of her own tail, and thus truncated, surrender her dubious title. Crocodiles close their eyes when they attack. Appetite is not about vision. Jill Christman.
That's a true story about me. And also Woodstock. Where my parents were supposed to be, but apparently I was 6 weeks late.
There were crocodiles at Woodstock.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Everybody
okay, thank you, Chris. It's an honor to be here tonight. As an administrative type in her 40s, although I just learned that I only work 2 hours once a week. So what I'm thinking is that some of the undergrads don't understand what to do at Ball State. But never mind, I'm over it. With a toddler, a first grader, a mortgage, that kind of thing, it's a thrill to get invited here to read with cool kids. And I can see, looking around this crowd, why Christopher issued reader instructions. Nobody else has mentioned this, and I'm surprised, actually, because I found them somewhat, well, alarming. He said that we should choose something to read that's funny, irreverent, and sexy.
And or. There's a slash.
So I was like, shit. But I can see that you are all of these things.
Where?
Yeah, right? And so, but I had to kind of dig deep, all right? So my first book, Dark Room, which is over there, and it's for sale, special half-price deal tonight only, and you can get...
It's the only hardback book on the table.
That's right, and that's for a very short time, because the happy news is that it's coming out in paperback. Yay! Sexy, hard copies, which will be like kind of a collector's item for the deeply and impressively irreverent and thigh-slappingly humorous, such as yourselves. You should probably get one tonight at half price. So, I don't know why I was going to say this. I'm going to skip this part. I was going to tell you about my therapist, who the last time I saw him, he was dressed only in a loincloth and glasses. But now with Kyle's parents here, that seems inappropriate. So if you want to read about that, you can buy the book. He was painted in silver, just the loincloth and the aviator glasses. Okay, so that's in the book. That's just a little teaser. So as a writer, I've moved on from the rich material of college debauchery and marijuana-growing uncles to pregnancy and childbirth and motherhood. And I do things like, last week Mark and I attended a concert where the first and second graders bark like dogs for half an hour. And later this week, we get to go to the first and second grade strings concert, which if you've ever experienced first and second grade playing the violin, it's a little bit like if you put a, this is not my line, I'm stealing this from a friend of mine who was telling me about it. She said it sounded like a box of kittens being run over by a dump truck. Pretty accurate. And actually, when I was writing this up, I was thinking that kind of, well, okay, yeah, so that's sort of irreverent because who does that to parents? But anyway, and then the other thing I kind of do is like we're trying to potty train our 3-year-old with M&Ms, and like for the love of God, just use the potty. But right, like you have to like, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so, but here's something. Have you heard about this? Is a publishing phenomenon. Have you heard about the children's book for parents that's coming out? Yeah, it's called, I'm sorry again. No. It's called Go the Fuck to Sleep. And it was supposed to come out in October, but then it went up to #1, right? It uses sort of the trope of children's books, which I don't know if you've read a lot of children's books lately. I have. And on the last page, they always go to sleep, no matter what. You could be in the circus, on the track, and then they went to sleep. Okay. So that's what you do with it, and they've written one for parents, and it was so popular on Amazon they've moved the publication date up to June, okay, and it's #1 on Amazon. They had to bring it up to 150,000 for the first print run. So I'm thinking of some sequels to that one. Well, never mind. Later on, you can ask me what my ideas are. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a shot. So we're looking for funny, irreverent, and sexy. So this is, it's a perfect acronym actually.
I think you've already covered that.
Okay. Oh, yeah, but what you wait. Okay. And so I actually wrote a little essay. It's very short. That's all I'm gonna read, almost. For Barrel House magazine, they were having a contest. And I love themes, and I love challenges and contests. And so the contest was write a dive bar essay. And so I did that. And I actually can't imagine that I will ever again have the opportunity to read this. Because normally I wouldn't. But for some reason, because of the instructions, I feel like it's okay to do tonight. And so like for a person who basically usually says, now I say like sit on your bottom, or maybe even like children could you sit on your pockets, I'm gonna basically read an essay about my ass. Okay, and it's called,
Yes.
You get that, the FIS? You with me? Okay, thank you. It's called the Margarita Game. And it's set in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The smoke is thickest in back, the part of the bar where we congregate on this steamy Alabama night, and a humming box fan blows a tunnel of moving air through the settled haze. My friend Anna is the only other woman in our group of 10 or so. She's a native of Tuscaloosa, the only one among us not claiming to be a writer. 8 years my junior, just barely old enough to be buying another round, although of course we've been coming here for years. It could be any Tuesday night in my last semester of grad school. Anna and I are feeling prettier by the minute, coming on hot and heavy to the wee hours of the morning, and I know I should be home writing my damn thesis, but I'm having way too much fun. We've been drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon out of a can for so long that when Anna grabs mine and forces a line triangle past the sharp lip, I'm almost ready to agree that the PBR tastes like an import. A regular comes padding in across the filthy cement floor. He's a black and white piebald Great Dane, so huge he can rest his chin on the bar, which he does. Anna and I turn back to our game. Tonight it starts, and I brought my own in a snappy black plastic case. The flights are brand spanking new and the shafts are weighted just right. I have a board at my house. If I'm going to be the kind of girl who hangs out in nasty bars with nasty writer boys, damn it, I'm going to win a game now and again. I'm useless with a pool stick, so I lead our pack of boys to the back of the chucker on Tuesday nights, after we've all had too many half-price margaritas at Pepito's on the campus strip, the wide plates of refried beans and melting cheese not even beginning to soak up enough tequila to help us walk straight to the Houndstooth across the street, where the weekly trivia game is underway, and my friend Sean, that's Lovelace, gauges my margarita consumption by the flush in my cheeks when I tip onto a stool and wait to know an answer. Animal questions are the only ones I seem to know. better than anyone else. The place is crawling with PhD and MFA candidates from the English department, so a Faulkner question isn't mine and mine alone, the way the dietary preferences of the Australian wombat might be. Other than books and animals, I suck at trivia. I like to think that this is because I've got my mind on loftier things, but I suspect it has more to do with not knowing much. Tonight, I'm wearing my favorite jeans, tight, faded Levi's with some lace around the ankles. My mom sewed on for me. Good ass jeans, Anna says. We're playing cricket, and when I close out our 16s and put an extra 20 points on our male opponents in a single set, Anna whoops and I swagger as I make the journey from the beer and cigarette shelf on one side of the narrow room to the board on the other to pull the needle tips from the court. Bar games are all about asses, aren't they? That's the pull quote they put in there. I'll show you later. Bar games are all about asses, aren't they? In pool, it's obvious. We've all seen that girl in her too tight, too short skirt, pretending like she didn't wear it on purpose, pretending like she didn't know she'd find herself this night leaning over the green belt, lining up a shot, the cue sliding through the hole she'd made with her fingers like we all know what, with her ass tilted up in the air like the harvest goddamn moon. That girl. And I'm no better. There are at least 8 guys behind me, any one of whom I can convince myself to be attracted to on any given Tuesday night, and including my future husband. Although I don't know this yet. And before I stretch up to give that dart at the top of the 20 a good firm yank, I position my feet in their 2-inch wedge heels just right. I can feel the heat from their eyes warm my ass like I'm sitting on a dryer. I won't lie. Plus, it was a hell of a shot. I twirled around fetchingly. Britney Spears or Gwen Stefani? This is what we've dubbed the margarita game, for reasons I'm sure are obvious. I'm thinking this is an easy one, although certainly revealing in terms of character. The object of the game is to choose which celebrity you'd rather sleep with and to defend that choice if necessary. Sometimes this requires serious deliberation and fine distinctions of taste and revulsion. You can kind of play along. Jennifer Aniston or Courtney Cox? Superman or Spider-Man? Wayne Newton or Randy Newman? Olivia Newton-John or Linda Ronstadt? Sting or Bono? You get the idea. James Joyce, Virginia Woolf. But this time, I've thrown out a no-brainer. Anna grins, a swimming grin through the smoke. She's on to me. I am drunk and I am silly, but I am rarely a woman without an agenda. Britney Spears or Gwen Stefani? The sexy boy I've been going home with on Tuesday nights doesn't hesitate. Britney Spears. Anna's left eyebrow arches up as high and as bright as an exit sign. The sexy boy I'm thinking about going home with comes in right behind it. Britney Spears? Are you kidding? Gwen Stefani? Totally. Anna smiles. And nods. I grin at her, and then at him. And just like that, stewed up with all those boys in that simmering piss pot of cheap beer and smoke, I have chosen the father of my child. Choice, too. Hell of a choice. Zippering into those butt-hugging jeans, snuggled in the basket of eggs I have carried in my ovaries since my mother carried me. The ovum who will be my baby girl is shielding her eyes from the smoke. Forgive me, sweetheart. Sometimes good choices are made in funky places. So that's that essay, which you can see why I don't have a lot of chances to read that. I've never read it in public before, and I don't plan to do it again. And you were a lovely audience, so thank you. I'm just going to read. Christopher has been kind enough. I think this invitation still stands. And if I say it here, I'm thinking maybe he really will have me back. He mentioned that he might have me back with the poet Mark Neely and the Alabama, famous Indiana writer, really, Michael Martone, in the fall. And on that night, I'll be celebrating the new paperback. So by way of luring you back to read that, I'm going to leave you with a thematically linked, this is an Alabama, another Tuscaloosa snippet from Dark Room. And it's kind of, And I can tell you, you know, I write all nonfiction these days, and this is the single best thing I've ever had the opportunity to say during a breakup, and so I have a certain fondness for this passage. It's not that funny at the beginning. You know, he was not a nice man. There comes a point when secrets don't help anymore. Secrets become laughable, unkeepable, unbelievable. In 1996, my live-in boyfriend of 2 years broke up with me, moved out, and fell in love with another woman. Not necessarily in that order. Denying any infidelity, he told me with a straight face that sometimes love just changes. People change. I didn't believe him. Not very often, I thought. It's not very often that people change all that much. When he said this, people change, Jill. He couldn't look at me. I watched his eyes shift, slide away from their focus on my face, across the lawn, and pull back to settle in on the brown glass lip of his beer bottle. Sitting on the cement steps of our rented house in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we had the same discussion at least 20 times before he finally left. It was July, and we sweated, flaked fire ants from our bare toes, and drank cold beer. We'd moved from Oregon to Alabama so that I could go to graduate school. It's this fucking state, he said. It's the climate. If we'd stayed in Eugene, we'd probably still be all right. You're right, I said. It's just like everybody down here says. It's not that you're fucking somebody else. It's the humidity. I know you all want to say that to somebody. I can't tell you how satisfying it was. All right, I'll read that one more time because it's so fun, even all these years later. You're right, I said. It's just like everybody says down here. It's not that you're fucking someone else. It's the humidity. I wound my hair up on top of my head away from my damp neck and leaned back against the screen door. I don't know why you say that, he said. You didn't have to come here with me. It was a choice. I lifted my bare leg away from the step and picked off the flakes of gray paint that had peeled away and stuck to the sweat at the back of my thigh. Thank you very much.